Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about plants. One of my favorite things to talk about, one of my things that I'm very passionate about, and especially during COVID and during quarantine is when I really got into plants. My husband and I were in a one-bedroom apartment at that time and we had over 50 plants. Most of them were surviving and thriving, but there were a few that left us too soon. But today, I wanted to talk about just those basic things to know if you are wanting to get started with plants. Plants are a very aesthetic thing. They're very in right now to have real plants and not fake plants in your home. But a lot of people don't know where to get started, and it can seem overwhelming, it can seem intimidating. But today I want to give you just a couple basic things to give you kind of that starting point, that knowledge to start with before you learn and grow and start this journey of becoming a plant mom or plant dad. So let's get started. I have known way too many people in my life who have said, I'm not a plant person, I only kill plants, I don't have a green thumb, I just can't keep plants alive, all those things. And while that might be valid for some people, I think plants can seem overwhelming and a lot for some people, whereas they don't have to be. So let's start with something super basic, and that is start with owning one plant. Just one. Not 2, not 10, not 30, not 50. Just start with one. Research that one plant, find one that works for your home, works for the lighting you have, you're taking care of it, you are seeing it grow new leaves, you feel confident, you know all there is to know about that one plant, and then ease into getting another and another and another if you so choose. I think if you go to the store and you say that one's cute, that one's cute, that one's cute, that one's cute, and come home with 10 plants, you're not going to know where to start. They're going to need different lighting, they're going to need different soil, and then a couple months down the road, they might all be dead. But if you get one plant, you see that plant growing, you see that plant surviving and thriving, and then that goes well, then add another, learn about that plant, then add another. Then when you have like 5, you're probably an expert enough to be able to buy as many as you want. But start with just one plant. Make it easy on yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself, because that's when we say, I'm not a plant person, all my plants died. It's like, well, you kind of tried to keep 10 alive at once when you didn't know anything about plants. Buying plants comes with buying pots. So my second thing is buy pots with drainage holes. There are so many cute pots out there that are cute and the right color and the right texture and all the things, but most of them don't come with drainage holes at the bottom. And that is unfortunate because your plants want to drain the water that you are putting in. If you don't buy a pot with a drainage hole, you're not giving your plant the ability to do what it needs to do. So buy pots with drainage holes. If it's cute and there's no drainage hole, you gotta say sayonara, gotta find another pot. So you have a plant, you have a pot, and now you're coming home and you're excited to start with your plants. Or plant, might I say. Don't repot your plant right away. That's my third tip. This might seem dramatic, but after a plant has come to a new environment, you are its new owner, it's taken a trip in a car, it's now in a new home. All these things to then repot the plant, that puts stress on the plant. And again, that might seem dramatic to say, oh, my plant is stressed out, but it can happen. So wait a couple days. Make sure that plant can get acclimated to your environment, to your climate, to the temperature you keep your home. Then if it's not dying, it's doing well, then you can repot it. But give it just a couple days to kind of ease into knowing it's new plant mom. My fourth tip comes to watering. Most plants are good with one time of watering a week. I have one day, my day is Mondays. I water all the plants in my home. Doesn't take me that long, but I water them all. I don't say, well, this plant likes water Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it only likes 2 tablespoons. And so I do that, but then this plant, it only likes every 2 weeks. And so I'll do that on Wednesdays, and then it'll be the same as the same. That's getting way too complicated. Know your plants, certain plant families, like the snake plants, they don't like to be watered as much. So maybe you do all your plants on Mondays, but snake plants, you say the first Monday of every month I will include those, then I won't include those. So make it as easy as you can. The more plants you get, the more you'll have to kind of know when each plant likes to be watered and how much and how often. For example, a plant this size isn't going to need as much water as a plant that's as big as I am. I have both. I have this size, I have smaller than this, and I have plants taller than me. They're going to need different amounts, but I still water on the same day to keep it easy for myself. So it's going to take a little bit of research, a little bit of knowledge on your part to know how much water do each of my plants actually need. And that's, again, going back to tip number 1, why it's smart to start with just one plant. But it can be easy as a first-time plant parent to overwater because you think, I'm nurturing, I'm caring for them, I need to keep them alive. And so you water every day, or you give it a cup every day, or give it way too much, and because we're trying to over-nurture it. One time a week of watering for most plants is good. Start with one plant, research it, get to know it, know how much water it needs when. And again, winter might be different than summer. For example, I live in Minnesota. My snake plants, I pretty much don't touch in the winter. They thrive off of me ignoring them. In the summer, I water about once every couple of weeks or every month because it still needs something, but not as much. Winter, it doesn't need to be touched. So you kind of have to know your environment as well. But that's where research comes in handy. And when your plant changes, or if it changes, if leaves start to become dark, or leaves start to fall off, or leaves start to become yellow, you know something's up and you know something needs to change. So that's when you might take a step back and say, okay, it might be getting too much light, it might be getting too much water, it might not be getting enough water, all those things. So that's when you kind of take a step back, analyze it, and realize I need to figure out what's going on here. But a lot of it comes down to whether we are over or under watering. 5th tip kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just talking about, but it's know your environment, know your climate, know what kind of windows you have, know all the things about your home. So when you are plant shopping, a lot of places, which is amazing, especially Bachman's, one of my favorite places to buy plants, they have a section that says highlight, medium light, low light, and you can say, okay, I want a plant for my bedroom. My bedroom gets medium light. So I can go to that medium light section. I don't even have to then do the research of what light that needs. I just know a plant on this table in this area is going to work for the space that I want. So you need to know what windows you have, the light you get, where you live. Is it going to be super hot and humid? Some plants like that. Some plants hate that. So you have to know before. Otherwise, you're going to buy all these plants, figure out they all die, realize, oops, I bought the wrong type of plants for my environment. And then you're going to have to start fresh. Or you're going to come back to the start and say, I'm not a plant person. I hate plants. I kill them. I don't have a green thumb. And that might not be true. So do your research, know what windows you have, know the climate that you're in, and that will help you be more successful. My 6th and final tip today comes down to you've had a plant for a while and it's getting bigger. That plant is growing. That plant is thriving. Not just surviving, it's thriving. I am speaking that over you. You've had that plant for a while, it's doing amazing, and it's starting to look a little crowded in the pot that you have. That's when it's time to repot. Now, there are a couple things to look for when you are deciding if you need to repot or not. If you look at the bottom of your pot, at the drainage hole that you will have in your pot, if roots are starting to come out the bottom, that is one way to know my plant is really growing, it needs a bigger pot. Another thing to look for is your plant all the way around, from the plant to the soil, there should be at least 2 inches of dirt on all sides of your pot, of your plant, to know that it's in a good pot. If you have roots and you have the plant right to the edge of the pot, that is showing that that plant is a little bit too big. It's a little bit too big for that pot and you need to upsize. You don't want it to feel crowded because then there's nowhere for more roots to go. There's nowhere for new leaves to go. Don't make your plant feel crowded, pot it. So the rule is 2 inches of soil around all sides. If it gets less than that, that's time to repot, as well as if roots are starting to come out the bottom of that drainage hole, it is also outgrown its pot. Those are some basic tips on plants. Again, it may seem overwhelming, but just start with these simple things. And feel free to comment below with any questions that you have about your plants. I love plants. There are also some apps out there where if you don't know what plant you have, you can scan it, take a picture of it, and it can help you identify what plant you have if you don't even know what type it is. Let me know below if you would like more plant videos. I am happy to do them. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you back in my next video. Bye!